This is how production begins for Skoda's latest car, the all-electric Škoda Peaq. The main idea behind the Škoda Peaq isn't luxury, but affordability, offering a more affordable price point than larger electric vehicles while focusing on everyday families and urban driving. Right now, you can see this factory worker easily assembling the entire front dashboard into the vehicle using a robotic manipulator arm. This programmable robotic arm from KUKA Robotics assembles the entire chassis, including the front and rear axles as well as the electric motor. Over 5,000 people work in this factory, most of them on the main assembly line. Here they prepare the wiring harness and inspect the entire chassis before it is joined to the body. Even though most assembly is done by robots, the production line is still full of workers. At this point, the painted body of the car arrives on the main assembly line, while the complete chassis module moves in parallel below it. The chassis typically includes the engine or electric drive unit, suspension, steering components, and sometimes the battery pack in electric vehicles. The Navarra plant is designed for high flexibility, meaning internal combustion cars such as the T-Cross and Taygo, as well as electric vehicles, are built on the same production lines. This factory produces more than 1,400 vehicles per day. The factory can switch between different powertrains without the need for dedicated EV-only production halls. The Peaq is the first Škoda model based on the new MEB electric platform and is designed specifically for efficient, lower-cost EV production in Europe. Building the Peaq in Spain allows Škoda to free up capacity in its Czech plants for other high-demand models, expand EV production without building new factories from scratch, and improve cost competitiveness against low-cost EV manufacturers. This is how Enyaq's Vision Systems works. It specializes in automated vision-based quality control systems. Once the vehicle is fully assembled, its systems use high-resolution cameras, structured lighting, and AI-based image analysis to scan the car for defects that are difficult to detect manually. Unlike normal factory lighting, these LED eliminate shadows and reflections that could hide imperfections. This makes it possible for inspectors to see surface issues with extreme precision. Inside these tunnels, the vehicle is slowly moved under intense, uniform LED lighting that simulates different real-world conditions. At the same time, inspectors verify functional elements. They test lighting systems, including headlights, taillights, and indicators, ensuring correct operation and uniform brightness. In this bright inspection room, surrounded by powerful LED lights, workers carefully examine the quality of the final paintwork. Any small imperfections or irregularities can be corrected manually before the body moves on. A paint thickness meter is then used to verify the quality of the robotic painting process and ensure the coating meets the required specifications. If everything checks out, the painted body continues to the main assembly line. The main assembly line in Mlada Boleslav is the heart of the factory. It moves continuously at around 6 meters per minute, carrying each vehicle through the final stages of production. The entire dashboard assembly for the new Škoda Octavia 4 is pre-manufactured in another section of the factory. It is then brought to the line and installed inside the cabin as one complete unit. Once the dashboard is in place, workers prepare the wiring and electrical connections. They then secure the dashboard assembly to the vehicle body using multiple screws. The chassis and powertrain are then joined with the vehicle body. At this stage, the production line is moving fast, with one new car completed approximately every 58 seconds. Next comes one of the most important moments on the production line. The completed chassis is automatically raised and connected to the vehicle body in a process known as the marriage. The assembly process continues with the installation of the vehicle's lighting systems. Workers and machines fit everything from the main headlights to the rear lights and other exterior lighting. The bolts on the wheels are automatically tightened with this giant gun. This will tighten them to a predetermined force. Cars are lifted on ceiling brackets during wheel assembly, so workers don't bear the wheel's full weight. Different Škoda models, like the Octavia and Fabia, are often assembled on the same line, thanks to advanced flexible manufacturing. The cars are now fully mobile and are driven to final quality control. If a fault is found, its cause is investigated and corrective measures are taken to prevent it from happening again. The LED lighting in this inspection tunnel provides the ideal conditions for a detailed final check. Every part of the car is carefully inspected to make sure it leaves the factory in perfect condition. Every Škoda Octavia goes through this final driving test before leaving the factory. It takes around 12 minutes to complete the circuit, where test drivers put the car through a series of checks. They test the handbrake, braking performance, body rigidity, and overall driving behavior to make sure everything performs as it should. The final tests cover far more than just the basics. Technicians check the cabin noise level, turn signals, windshield wipers, horn, gear shifting, acceleration, and braking performance to make sure everything works exactly as it should.